I
Josephine.
humiliated my housekeeper at my $1 million birthday party. The video went viral. I lost everything. But then a DNA test arrived that destroyed my entire world. Because that housekeeper? She was hiding the biggest secret of my life. And when the truth came out, I realized I'd been torturing the one person who loved me most. This is my story. And it's going to break your heart. Amara Chen pressed her glossed lips together and checked the ring light one more time. The afternoon sun poured through the floor-to-ceiling windows of her bedroom, but natural light wasn't enough for her 3 million Instagram followers. Everything had to be perfect. The cream-colored silk dress hugged her body just right. Her hair fell in loose curls over her shoulders. She smiled at her phone camera and hit record. Hey beautiful people. It's your girl Amara, and today is literally the best day ever. I'm turning 22, and Daddy is throwing me the most insane party at the Belmont estate tonight. I'm talking ice sculptures, champagne fountains, and oh my God, Travis Scott is performing. She giggled and did a little spin. The dress alone cost $40,000. But you know what? I deserve it. We deserve it. Because life is about celebrating yourself, am I right? She blew a kiss at the camera and stopped recording. The video would get millions of views by evening. It always did. Being the daughter of David Chen, the man who built the Chen Technologies empire from nothing, had its perks. Her entire life was a highlight reel, and she made sure everyone knew it. Amara, your makeup artist is here. Her stepmother Rebecca's voice floated up the stairs. Coming. Amara grabbed her phone and headed downstairs, her heels clicking against the marble floor. The house smelled like fresh flowers, white roses everywhere. The party planners had been working since dawn, transforming their Atlanta mansion into something out of a magazine. Amara loved it. She loved all of it. The attention, the luxury, the way people looked at her when she walked into a room. In the kitchen, Mama Josephine stood at the sink, washing dishes. The old black woman's hands moved slowly, her fingers wrinkled and swollen. She had to be at least 70 now, maybe older. She'd been working for the Chen family since before Amara was born. Her gray hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and she wore the same ugly blue uniform she'd worn for years. Josephine, did you iron my backup dress? Amara asked without looking at her. Yes, Miss Amara. It's hanging in your closet. Josephine's voice was soft and tired. And did you remember to use the special setting? Because last time you almost burned a hole in my Valentino top. I remembered. Amara scrolled through her phone, not paying attention. Good. Because if you mess up tonight, you're going to have a problem. This party cost $500,000. Everything has to be perfect. Josephine didn't respond. She just kept washing dishes, her shoulders bent forward like she was carrying something heavy. Rebecca walked in, looking stunning in a red dress. Amara, sweetheart, your father wants to talk to you before the party. He's in his office. Can it wait? I have so much to do. It's important. Amara sighed dramatically but headed toward her father's office. The house was massive, over 12,000 square feet, with rooms they never even used. David Chen's office was on the first floor, all dark wood and leather furniture. He sat behind his desk, looking at his laptop, his reading glasses perched on his nose. Hey Daddy. Amara kissed his cheek. Princess. Sit down for a minute. David closed his laptop and smiled at her, but something was different in his eyes. Serious. Amara sat down, suddenly nervous. Is everything okay? Everything's fine. Better than fine, actually. I wanted to tell you first, before the announcement tonight. He leaned back in his chair. I'm running for Senate. Amara's mouth fell open. What? Are you serious? Dead serious. The party approached me last month. They want fresh faces, successful businessmen who understand technology and the future. The election is next year, and they think I have a real shot. Oh my God, Daddy! That's amazing! Amara jumped up and hugged him. But here's the thing, sweetheart. When you run for office, everything gets examined. Everything. The press will dig into our lives. Your life. We need to be careful. No more wild parties in Miami. No more pictures with bottles at the club. Image matters now more than ever. Amara pulled back. You're asking me to change my whole life? I'm asking you to grow up a little. You're 22 now. Time to think about the future, about legacy. Our family is about to be in the national spotlight. Amara wanted to argue, but she saw the determination in her father's face. She'd seen that look before, when he was closing a business deal. He'd already made up his mind. Okay, she said quietly. I'll be more careful. Good girl. Now go get ready for your party. Tonight is still about you. Amara left the office with her mind spinning. Senator's daughter. That had a nice ring to it. More exclusive than just being a tech billionaire's kid. She could already imagine the interviews, the fashion magazines, the increased followers. The party started at 7. By 6:30, the house was packed with caterers, servers, security guards, and decorators making last-minute adjustments. Amara stood in front of her mirror, letting the makeup artist work magic on her face. Her phone kept buzzing with messages from friends asking when they could arrive. Miss Amara, can I come in? Josephine knocked softly on the door. What is it? I'm busy. Josephine entered, holding something wrapped in tissue paper. I wanted to give you this. For your birthday. Amara turned around, annoyed. Josephine, I don't have time right now. Please. It'll just take a second. The old woman's hands shook as she held out the package. Amara grabbed it and unwrapped it quickly. Inside was a hand-knitted scarf, cream-colored with little flowers along the edges. It was actually kind of pretty, in a homemade way. But it wasn't Gucci or Chanel. It wasn't something she could post on Instagram. Thanks, Amara said flatly, tossing it on the bed. You can go now. I made it myself. Took me 3 months. I wanted you to have something special, something made with love. Josephine, I said thank you. I don't need the whole story behind it. You can leave. The old woman's face fell. For a second, Amara saw hurt flash across her eyes, deep and painful. But then Josephine nodded and shuffled out of the room, closing the door behind her. The makeup artist raised her eyebrows but said nothing. The party was everything Amara dreamed it would be. 200 guests filled the estate, all dressed in designer clothes, drinking expensive champagne. Travis Scott's music pounded through the speakers. Lights danced across the walls. Amara floated through the crowd, hugging friends, posing for pictures, soaking in the attention like sunshine. Around 9 o'clock, her father clinked his glass and the music lowered. Everyone turned to face him as he stood on the small stage they'd set up near the pool. Thank you all for coming tonight to celebrate my beautiful daughter, David began. Amara, you've grown into an incredible young woman, and your mother and I are so proud of you. Rebecca stood next to him, smiling her perfect smile. But tonight isn't just about Amara's birthday. I have another announcement to make. David paused for effect. I'm officially running for United States Senate. The crowd erupted in applause and cheers. Amara felt her heart swell with pride. Her father, a senator. Her family, even more powerful than before. But then something happened that would change everything. One of the servers, a young guy probably in his 20s, tripped near the dessert table. He crashed into Mama Josephine, who was carrying a tray of glasses. The tray flew out of her hands, and glasses shattered all over the marble floor. Champagne splashed everywhere, including on 3 guests' expensive dresses. The music stopped. Everyone stared. Josephine dropped to her knees immediately, trying to pick up the broken glass with her bare hands. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Let me clean this up. Amara felt rage burst in her chest like a firework. This was her party. Her perfect party. And this stupid old woman had just ruined it. She marched over, her heels crunching on broken glass. Are you kidding me right now? Are you actually kidding me? Miss Amara, I'm sorry, he bumped into me. I don't care what happened. Look at this mess. You've embarrassed our entire family in front of everyone. Amara's voice got louder with each word. Guests pulled out their phones. She knew they were recording, but she didn't care. She was too angry. You're just the help, Josephine. Just the help. You're not family. You're not important. You're someone we pay to do a job, and you can't even do that right. Tears filled Josephine's eyes. Her whole body seemed to shrink. Amara, that's enough. David's voice cut through the air. But Amara wasn't done. 22 years of treating Josephine like furniture, like background noise, all came pouring out. Why are you even still here? You're old. You're slow. We should have replaced you years ago. Amara! Rebecca's voice was sharp. The old woman stood up slowly, glass cuts bleeding on her palms. She looked at Amara with eyes full of so much sadness it seemed bottomless. Then she turned and walked toward the house, leaving a small trail of blood drops behind her. The party tried to restart, but the energy was dead. Guests whispered to each other. Phones stayed out. Amara knew the video would be online within an hour. But she told herself she didn't care. Josephine had ruined her moment. The next morning, Amara woke up to her phone exploding. The video had gone viral. 10 million views. 20 million. The comments were brutal. Spoiled brat. Disgusting behavior. This is what's wrong with rich people. Her follower count was dropping by thousands every minute. She found her father in the kitchen, his face gray with anger. Do you have any idea what you've done? My campaign team is having a meltdown. The press is calling me a man who raises entitled, cruel children. This is a disaster, Amara. A complete disaster. Daddy, No. I don't want to hear it. Rebecca already talked to our lawyers. We're doing damage control, but it might be too late. He rubbed his temples. And there's something else. Your college sent over some paperwork yesterday. You need to do a health screening for your graduate school application. Blood work, genetic testing, the whole thing. Insurance requirement. I'm not going to graduate school. Yes, you are. And you're doing this screening today. We need to show the world you're serious about your future, about being responsible. The clinic is expecting you at noon. Amara wanted to argue, but one look at her father's face told her not to push it. She'd never seen him this angry. The clinic was cold and sterile. A nurse drew her blood while making small talk Amara didn't care about. The whole thing took 15 minutes. They said results would be ready in a week, sent directly to her and the school. Amara drove home in silence. Her Instagram was still bleeding followers. The hate messages kept coming. Someone had even started a petition to get her cancelled. Whatever that meant. When she got home, Josephine was in her room, folding laundry. Her hands were bandaged. I told you to knock before you come in, Amara snapped. Josephine looked at her for a long moment. I've been in this house for 23 years, she said quietly. 23 years of watching you grow up. Of taking care of you when you were sick. Of making your favorite meals. Of listening to you talk about your dreams. Her voice cracked. And you don't even see me as human. Josephine. My name is Josephine Williams. I have 3 sisters in Nigeria. I came to America when I was 45 years old. I have a degree in nursing, but it didn't transfer here, so I took this job. I've been sending money home every month for 23 years to help my family. I have dreams. I have feelings. I am a person, Amara. Not furniture. Tears rolled down the old woman's face, but she didn't wipe them away. She just stood there, letting Amara see her pain. For the first time in her life, Amara didn't know what to say. Josephine left the room quietly, closing the door behind her. The folded laundry sat on the bed, perfect and neat, like always. That night, Amara couldn't sleep. She kept seeing Josephine's face, the way her eyes had looked so broken. She kept hearing her words. I am a person. How many times had Amara walked past her without really seeing her? How many times had she treated her like she was invisible? The week crawled by. Amara tried to fix her image online, posting apology videos, but nothing worked. The internet had decided she was a villain, and there was no coming back from it. Her father's campaign team made her volunteer at a soup kitchen for a photo op, but even that backfired when someone recognized her and posted about how fake it was. On Friday evening, the whole family sat down for dinner. Rebecca had insisted on it, said they needed to reconnect as a family unit. The dining room felt too big, too quiet. Josephine served the food, moving like a ghost. "We need to talk about next steps," David said, cutting his steak. "The campaign is still viable, but we need Amara to stay out of the spotlight for a while. No parties. No post. Nothing." "I understand," Amara said quietly. The doorbell rang. Rebecca frowned. "Who could that be?" "We're not expecting anyone." Josephine went to answer it and came back holding a large envelope. "This just came by courier. For Miss Amara." Amara took it, confused. Her name was on the front, along with the logo of the medical clinic. "It's my health screening results." "Open it later," David said. "We're eating." But something made Amara tear it open right there at the table. Her hands shook as she pulled out the papers. There were pages of medical jargon she didn't understand, charts about her blood type and genetic markers. And then she saw it. A section labeled Genetic Family Matching. The room started spinning. "Amara? What's wrong?" Rebecca's voice sounded far away. Amara read the words again, but they didn't make sense. They couldn't make sense. According to the DNA analysis, she was not genetically related to Rebecca Chen. That made sense because Rebecca was her stepmother. But there was more. A secondary match had been flagged in the system. A maternal grandmother match. The name made Amara's blood run cold. Josephine Williams. "What is this?" Amara whispered. "What is this?" David's face went white. He grabbed the papers from her hands, and as he read them, something broke in his expression. Years of carefully constructed lies crumbling in seconds. "David." Rebecca's voice was sharp. "What's going on?" Josephine stood frozen by the dining room door, her face a mask of shock and terror. "Someone better start talking right now," Amara said, her voice rising. "Because this says that Josephine is my grandmother." "My grandmother? How is that possible?" The silence in the room was deafening. And in that silence, Amara's entire world began to collapse. If this story is hitting you in the feels right now, please hit that subscribe button and drop a like. Your support helps us share more powerful stories like this one. Now, back to what happens when Amara discovers the truth. David Chen stood up from the table so fast his chair fell backward. The crash echoed through the dining room like a gunshot. He grabbed the DNA report from Amara's hands, his eyes scanning the pages over and over, as if reading them again would change what they said. "This can't be right," he muttered. "This is a mistake. Labs make mistakes all the time." "David." Rebecca's voice was ice cold. "What is going on?" Amara looked at Josephine, who stood near the doorway with tears streaming down her face. The old woman's mouth moved but no sound came out. Her bandaged hands clutched at her uniform like she was trying to hold herself together. "Someone tell me the truth right now," Amara screamed. "How is Josephine my grandmother?" David's hands shook as he set the papers down on the table. He looked 10 years older suddenly, his face gray and worn. "Amara, sit down. Please." "I don't want to sit down. I want answers." "Sit down." David's roar shook the chandelier above them. Amara had never heard her father yell like that. She dropped into her chair, her heart hammering against her ribs. David paced back and forth like a caged animal. Rebecca sat perfectly still, her manicured hands folded on the table, her face unreadable. Josephine leaned against the doorframe like her legs might give out. 23 years ago, David began, his voice barely above a whisper, I was in graduate school at MIT. Business school. I was nobody then. Just another kid with big dreams and no money. I worked 3 jobs to pay tuition. One of those jobs was at a cleaning company. Night shifts in office buildings. Amara felt sick. She knew where this was going but couldn't stop it. There was a woman who worked with me. Her name was Adiz. She was from Nigeria, just like Josephine. Beautiful, smart, kind. She was studying to be a nurse, working nights to pay for school just like me. We started talking during breaks, then having coffee after shift, then more. "Oh God," Rebecca said quietly. "I fell in love with her," David continued, his voice cracking. "Real love. The kind that makes you forget about everything else. We were together for 8 months. She got pregnant. We were going to get married, make it work somehow. I didn't care that she was broke like me. I didn't care that my parents would disown me for marrying someone they hadn't chosen. I loved her." Josephine let out a sob. David glanced at her but couldn't seem to look her in the eye. "What happened?" Amara whispered. "Adiz went into labor 2 weeks early. I was in class. By the time I got to the hospital..." David's voice broke completely. "There were complications. The baby was fine, healthy, but Adiz bled out. They tried everything. She died on the table holding my hand, begging me to take care of our daughter." The room went silent except for Josephine's crying. Amara felt like she was underwater, everything muffled and strange. "I was 24 years old," David said. "Terrified. Broke. I had a newborn baby and no idea how to take care of her. That's when Josephine showed up at the hospital. Adiz's mother. She'd flown in from Nigeria as soon as she heard her daughter was in labor. But she was too late. She arrived 6 hours after Adiz died." Josephine finally spoke, her voice thick with tears. "My baby. My Adiz. I never even got to say goodbye to her. She was my youngest. My favorite." She wiped her eyes with her bandaged hands. "And there was this baby. This tiny, beautiful baby. My granddaughter. All I had left of my daughter." "Josephine wanted to take you back to Nigeria," David said. "Raise you there with her family. But I couldn't let you go. You were all I had left of Adiz. So we made an arrangement. Josephine would stay in America and help me raise you. She'd be your nanny. I'd pay her salary and help her get citizenship. It seemed like the perfect solution." "But you lied to me," Amara said, her voice hollow. "My entire life is a lie." "I was going to tell you," David said weakly. "When you were older. When you could understand. But then the business took off. Chen Technologies exploded. I met Rebecca. We got married. And it got more complicated." Rebecca stood up, her chair scraping against the floor. "I knew," she said flatly. Amara's head snapped toward her stepmother. "What?" "I knew everything before I married your father. He told me the truth about you, about Adiz, about Josephine. I made him promise we'd keep it secret. Do you have any idea what it would do to our reputation? A black mother? A cleaning woman? The press would have destroyed us. Especially now with the Senate race. So you've been lying to me too?" Amara felt like she was falling through space. "Both of you." "We were protecting you," Rebecca said coldly. "Protecting this family. Protecting everything your father built. You think you got into those fancy schools on merit alone? You think your Instagram followers love you for your personality? Everything you have, every opportunity you've gotten, is because of the Chen name, the image we've carefully constructed. We couldn't let some dead black woman ruin that." The cruelty in Rebecca's voice was stunning. Amara looked at the woman she'd called mom for 15 years and barely recognized her. "Adiz wasn't some dead black woman," Josephine said, her voice stronger now despite her tears. "She was my daughter. She was brilliant and kind, and she loved David with her whole heart. And she gave her life to bring Amara into this world. And we paid you very well to keep quiet about it," Rebecca snapped. "Don't act like you're some kind of saint. You took our money for 23 years. "I took the money so I could stay close to my granddaughter," Josephine shouted back. "So I could watch her grow up. So I could be part of her life even if I couldn't tell her the truth. Every day I had to watch her treat me like dirt. Like I was nothing. Like I didn't matter." Do you know what that feels like? To love someone so much it hurts, and have them look through you like you're invisible? Amara started crying. Huge, ugly sobs that came from somewhere deep in her chest. All those years. All those times she'd been cruel to Josephine. Every insult, every dismissive wave, every time she'd called her, just the help. She'd been torturing her own grandmother. I'm sorry, Amara choked out. Mama Josephine, I'm so sorry. Don't call her that, Rebecca said sharply. This changes nothing. We'll pay off the lab to bury these results. We'll sign whatever NDAs we need to sign. The world will never know about this. Are you insane? Amara stared at Rebecca like she was a stranger. This is my family. My real family. My mother died bringing me into the world, and you've been hiding it from me for my entire life. Your mother was a cleaning woman, Rebecca said, her voice venomous. A nobody. If this gets out, it will destroy your father's Senate campaign. It will tank the company's stock. Everything we've built will crumble. I don't care. Amara screamed. Well, you should care. Because without the Chen money, without the Chen name, you're nothing. You're just another pretty girl with a camera and no talent. The only reason anyone pays attention to you is because you're rich. The words hit Amara like physical blows. Because part of her knew Rebecca was right. Her whole identity was wrapped up in being David Chen's daughter. Being rich. Being privileged. Without that, who was she? David grabbed Rebecca's arm. That's enough. Don't touch me, Rebecca yanked away from him. I've stood by you through everything. I played the perfect wife, the perfect stepmother. I turned that girl into someone presentable. And this is how you repay me? By letting some lab test blow up our entire world. You played nothing, David said, his voice dangerous. You married me for money and status. Don't pretend it was ever about love. At least I'm honest about what I am, Rebecca shot back. You're the one who's been living a lie for 23 years. You're the coward who couldn't even tell his daughter the truth about her own mother. Get out, David roared. Get out of this house right now. Rebecca laughed, a cold, bitter sound. This is half my house, remember? Community property. You throw me out, and I'll make sure every news outlet in the country knows the truth. I'll destroy you. Then do it, Amara said quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. She stood up, wiping her tears, her voice steady now. Tell everyone. I don't care anymore. Amara, wait, David started. No, I'm done waiting. I'm done lying. I'm done pretending to be someone I'm not. She looked at Josephine, really looked at her for the first time. Saw the woman behind the uniform. Saw her grandmother's face in the shape of her own eyes, the curve of her own lips. I want to know everything. About my mother. About her life. About her family. About where I really come from. Josephine walked forward on shaky legs. She reached out and touched Amara's face with her bandaged hand, so gently, like she was touching something precious that might break. You look just like her, Josephine whispered. Same eyes. Same smile. Even the way you tilt your head when you're thinking. Every day I see my Adiz in you. Amara grabbed Josephine's hand and held it against her cheek. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for everything I said. For everything I did. For treating you like you didn't matter. You didn't know. That's not an excuse. I should have been kind. I should have seen you as a person. I was cruel and spoiled and horrible. You were young, Josephine said softly. You were taught to think that way. But you can change. You can be better. Rebecca made a disgusted sound. This is pathetic. You're all pathetic. When this blows up in your faces, don't come crying to me. She grabbed her purse and walked out, her heels clicking against the marble floor. The front door slammed behind her. David sank into his chair, his head in his hands. The campaign is over. Everything is over. Maybe that's not a bad thing, Amara said. She sat down next to Josephine, taking both of the old woman's hands in hers. Tell me about my mother, please. I want to know everything. Josephine's face transformed. Even through her tears, joy broke through like sunrise. She loved books. She read everything she could get her hands on. Medicine, poetry, history. She wanted to be a doctor someday, open clinics in Nigeria to help people who couldn't afford healthcare. She was so smart, so driven. Did she like music? Oh yes. She sang all the time. Badly. Josephine laughed through her tears. Terrible voice. But she sang anyway, loud and proud. Nigerian songs her grandmother taught her. She said music was medicine for the soul. Amara hung on every word. Learning about Adiz felt like finding a missing piece of herself. She asked question after question. What was her mother's favorite food? What made her laugh? What were her dreams? Josephine answered everything, her voice growing stronger with each memory. David sat quietly, listening, tears rolling down his face. He'd loved Adiz too. Amara could see it in his eyes, the grief that had never fully healed. They talked for hours. Josephine showed Amara photos on her phone, pictures of Adiz as a little girl in Nigeria, as a teenager, as a young woman in Boston. Amara stared at her mother's face, memorizing every detail. They had the same nose, the same smile. I have more pictures at my apartment, Josephine said. Letters she wrote. Her journals. I've kept everything. Can I see them? Of course. Whenever you want. By midnight, they were exhausted. Amara helped Josephine up from the table. The old woman moved slowly, her body tired from decades of hard work. Stay here tonight, Amara said. Not in the staff quarters. In one of the guest rooms. Please. Josephine hesitated. That wouldn't be appropriate. Grandma. The word felt strange and wonderful on Amara's tongue. Please stay. I don't want you to leave. Fresh tears filled Josephine's eyes. You called me Grandma. That's what you are. That's what you've always been, even when I didn't know it. They hugged. Really hugged. Not the quick, fake hugs Amara gave for Instagram photos. This was real. Deep. Years of lost time trying to make up for itself in one moment. The next morning, Amara woke up and made a decision. She grabbed her phone and opened Instagram. Her follower count had dropped to 1.8 million. The hate comments still poured in. But none of that mattered anymore. She hit record and started talking. No ring light. No makeup. No filters. Just her, sitting on her bedroom floor in sweatpants and a t-shirt, her eyes still red from crying. Hi everyone. I need to tell you something. Something true. She took a deep breath. You all saw the video of me yelling at my family's housekeeper. You saw me be cruel and heartless. And you should know it was even worse than what the video showed. I've been treating Josephine Williams like garbage for my entire life. And yesterday, I found out why that hurts so much more than I ever realized. She held up the DNA test results to the camera. Josephine is my grandmother. My biological grandmother. My real mother was a Nigerian woman named Adiz who died giving birth to me. My father and stepmother hid this from me my whole life because they were ashamed. Ashamed of where I really come from. Ashamed that my mother was black and poor and worked as a cleaning woman. Amara's voice shook, but she kept going. But I'm not ashamed. Not anymore. I'm proud. Proud to be Adiz's daughter. Proud to be Josephine's granddaughter. And I'm sorry. So deeply sorry for every cruel word, every dismissive gesture, every time I made my grandmother feel like she was less than human. I was wrong. Unforgivably wrong. Tears streamed down her face. I don't know if any of you will forgive me. I don't know if I deserve forgiveness. But I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to be better. Trying to honor my mother's memory and my grandmother's love. And if that means losing everything, all my followers, all my so-called fame, then that's okay. Because I finally know who I really am. She ended the recording and posted it without watching it back. Her hands shook as she set the phone down. Within an hour, the video had 1 million views. 2 million. 5 million. The comments started different this time. This is real. Respect for owning it. This is what accountability looks like. Some people still hated her, but others saw something genuine, something raw and honest they'd never seen from her before. The major news outlets picked up the story by afternoon. Tech billionaire's secret love child. Senate campaign derailed by hidden past. Viral influencer's shocking family secret. David's campaign team resigned en masse. Chen Technologies stock took a hit. Rebecca filed for divorce through her lawyer, true to her threat to make everything public. But something unexpected happened too. People started sharing stories about their own families, their own hidden histories, their own moments of realization and change. The comment sections filled with confessions and apologies and stories of reconciliation. Amara's video became more than just her story. It became a mirror for everyone watching. Josephine moved into the house permanently, not as staff but as family. Amara spent her days learning about Nigerian culture, about her mother's homeland, about the family she'd never known she had. Josephine's sisters in Nigeria video called every week, welcoming Amara with open arms and endless love. David didn't run for Senate. Instead, he started a foundation in Adi's name, providing scholarships for immigrant women studying medicine. He seemed lighter somehow, like telling the truth had lifted a weight he'd been carrying for 23 years. Amara's followers eventually climbed back up, but she used her platform differently now. No more designer haul videos or club promotions. Instead, she shared her journey of learning about her heritage, about working with her grandmother's hands to cook Nigerian food, about visiting her mother's grave for the first time and leaving flowers. One evening, 3 months after the DNA test changed everything, Amara and Josephine sat together on the back porch watching the sunset. Josephine held a worn photo album on her lap, showing Amara pictures of Adiz as a child. "She would be so proud of you," Josephine said softly. "Not for being famous or rich, but for being brave enough to change. Brave enough to choose love over image." "I wish I could have known her," Amara said. "You do know her. She's in you. In your smile, your laugh, your stubborn determination. She's in every choice you make to be kind instead of cruel. She lives on through you." Amara leaned her head on her grandmother's shoulder. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the sky turn orange and pink and purple. For the first time in her 22 years, Amara felt complete. Not because of money or fame or followers, but because she finally knew where she came from. She finally knew who she was, and she was home. Thank you for staying with Amara's journey to the end. Stories like this remind us that it's never too late to change, never too late to choose love over pride. If this story moved you, please subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss our next emotional story. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, the people we overlook might be the ones who love us most. See you in the next story.